Shalom. I will give all honor and glory and praises to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, QADASH. Double honors to the elders and apostles of great wisdom, teaching this truth and sincerity. Salutation to the hopeful that spirit at the four corners of the earth. Alright, so the title of this lesson will be a continuation of a white man heaven as a black man hell. So this is the lyrics breakdown. So white man's heaven is a black man's hell, lyrics spiritual breakdown part 2, and do verse 1. So just a continuation of part 1 of this series. All right, so I hope that this lesson will be edifying, and I'm going to jump to the genius this time in this part. I'm going to see what genius says what these verses mean, because because Louis Frankenham, he has the zeal, so he knows that we're the true Israelites. He knows that we are the real people. We are the true. We are the prince of the power. We are the kings. We are the kings, right? We are the kings and princes, right? So he has a zeal, but he doesn't have it according to the spirit, right? He doesn't, he can't go into these precepts to find out why we are in the position that we're in. He has a zeal, but he doesn't have it according to knowledge, right? And genius, they don't have, they have the zeal and they don't have it, but they can go into precepts, right? They can break these verses down with precepts. So verse 1, it says, before we came to America, we were living in the east by the Nile River. We were living in luxury, enjoying freedom, justice, and equality, right? So they put that this verse is talking about, it claims that the American blacks, black is just another term of a proverb, right, in a byword, because the word black, it just means void of light. It's used to, because we're not black, we're just a dark shade of brown, right? We're not black, and it's just another construct that was used to divide the races, like white. White is just another, it's just another bower in a proverb as well, because the word white, the real people that are white, they're the Edomites, that where their real nationality goes back to, right? Just like the so-called black Negroes, right? Black people, our nationality goes back to the Israelites, right? Are actual members of the tribe of Shabazz, right? In ancient black nation that they say is literally tens of trillions of years old. From the Persian name Shabazz, meaning royal falcon, Salakia. Right, so I looked up this tribe of Shabazz. They look like so-called Jates, but they could be so-called Jates, because when our people there's a term called the Jewish diaspora. The Jew diaspora. So our people got scattered amongst these different tribes. They get scattered among the different tribes, because some are majority of the Israelites fled into the wilderness, which our wilderness represents Africa, right? So and these like so-called, but the whole point is, that this is referring back to when we were living in our homeland, we were living in our territory, when we had the land of Israel in possession, when we had that land by the Nile River, in possession, right? And we had that land, right? Pursuant to Joshua 1 or So this is Joshua 1:4 reads. So this was before Moses, died, or after Moses, Joshua. And it reads, from the wilderness in this Lebanon, even unto the great river. So that river represents the Mediterranean Sea, right? That's a possession of all that land from the Mediterranean Sea. So that Great Sea, what is the Great Sea? And I looked it up. I looked up the word Great Sea, and it's historically the Mediterranean Sea. So all of that land, all that land from the Mediterranean Sea to the river Euphrates, Euphrates, all the land of the highlights, and unto the great sea toward the going down of the sun should be your coast, right? So that's all the land that, all that land will be in possession of the Israelites. Um, and Joshua, pursuant to Joshua 11:23. Joshua chapter 11, verse 23. So Joshua took the whole land according to all that the Lord Yahweh said unto Moses, and Joshua gave it for an inheritance unto Israel according to their divisions by their tribes, and the land rested for war. So all this land right here, you know, from the coast of Euphrates, to the and it has here the Great Sea, right? So all this land came in possession of the Israelites, Uh, right? Trying to get a better look at it. So all this land, right, came under possession of the Israelites. Division of the promised land to the 12 tribes of Israel, right? So that so we were living in the east by the Nile River. The sea that is east to the Nile River will be the Mediterranean Sea. So, we were in possession of that. We were living in the east by the Mediterranean Sea. We were, and land. We were living in luxury. Yeah, we were living in luxury. We were living as um, princes. We were living as, you know, as leaders. You know, Joshua chapter 5 verse 6. For the children of Israel walked 40 years in the wilderness till all the people that were men of war, which came out of Egypt, because that was when Yahweh BAHASHAM, he saved or he you know saved Israelites, that he brought them out of the captivity under the Egyptian, were consumed, right? So all those men of war, basically all the people who owed, died. All this, I think, uh, yeah, all the people who had the fighting ability, died, were consumed because they obeyed not the voice of the Lord Yahweh. Unto whom the Lord Yahweh swear that he would not shew them the land, which the Lord Yahweh swear unto their fathers that he will give us, a land that flows milk and honey. So what does that land represent? What is that land? That land is the land of Israel, right? So a land that flows milk and honey, right? Let me see. The word honey. Uh, So it's going back to the land that is luxury. Have you know materials, right? Um, is materials. It's the gold that had, the silver and the bronze that it had, right? Precious minerals. So here have it milk abundance of land. So it's a metaphor, a abundance of land, right? In Israel, you know, they did get their lands. They did get abundance of land, right? Uh, milk as the richness of kin, a khan, right? Right. So a land flow of milk, honey, which represents the wealth. The luxury. We were a, we were, that's why so many people, kings. This is why when we did take back that land, from the heathen nation, they were fighting. They fight very hard to, keep that land, right? To keep um that land that they possesses, the land that they had, right? It's like Joshua 21 and 43, and the Lord Yahweh gave unto Israel all the land which he swore to give unto their father, and they possessed it and dwelt therein. Right. So right. So we were in possession, you know, of that land, right, of our land, you know. So all that land we were in possession of it. Um, Now let me get Psalms 1 and 2, Psalms 1, 2, and 1. Psalms chapter 112, verse 1. It said prosperity of the one who fears the Lord, right? So Israel, you know, after they served that captivity, in Egypt, they made a promise to the Lord that they will obey His commandments, right? You know, they made a promise, that He would that if that they will obey the Lord's commandment, and they won't serve other gods, And so Psalms chapter 112, verse 1, praise ye the Lord Yahweh. Blessed is the man that fears the Lord Yahweh, that delights greatly in his commandments. Right, blessed. If you're following the Lord's commandments and laws, you are blessed. Second verse, his seed shall be mighty upon earth. Right, so his seed, which represent what? His family line. His which represent man family line. This is why Israel. It was Israel is numbered as a sin of the sea, right? Because back then, they kept the Lord's commandments, right? And through that, the Lord blessed the nation of Israel. We will multiply, right? We multiplied, you know, upon the whole earth. Shall be mighty upon earth, right? Shall be mighty upon earth. So again, that's just going back. This is why it's written that Israel is like the sand of the sea. The generation of the upright shall be blessed, right? Third verse. So there's the main point. Wealth and riches shall be in his house, and his righteousness endureth forever. Right. So wealth and riches should be in his house. So that land that flows milk and honey, we did, no, we had that wealth. We had all that wealth and riches. That that land, was given to the Israelites. So we had, that land, and we're gonna get it back. When Yahweh shall return, we're gonna get that land back. And it's gonna be restored. It's gonna be renewed. It's gonna be refurbished, right? You know, and we're gonna have more land. We're gonna have the land. We're gonna have the heathen land. We're gonna have earth. It's gonna be ruled by Israelites. There won't be no more heathen ruling earth. It will all be ruled by the Israelites. So we're gonna have all that land. That we once had. So enjoying freedom, justice, and equality. Is he saying that, right? You know, because they were obeying the commandments, right? They were obeying the Lord's commandments. They're and the Most High was protecting the land of Israel, pursuant to Joshua 21:43. It reads, it's like I read that one. Joshua 21:43, but I read again. The Lord gave unto Israel all the land which he swore to give unto their father, and they possessed it and dwelt therein. 44th verse, and the Lord Yahawah gave them rest around about. Right. What does that mean? That means that there was no wars, there were no nation trying to constantly attack them, right? So they were they were basically free, according to all that he swore unto their fathers, and there stood not a man of all their enemies before them. The Lord Yahawah delivered all their enemies into their land, into their hand, right? So if anyone tried to attack the Israelites, they would be defeated. So, you know, they'll be defeated, right? So it's just showing how, we were, and they have it, ingenious, whatever what's it's called. They got a different, and I know they got a different interpretation of what that it's talking about. No, they don't have a different interpretation of what this is talking about, but it's just showing that um, we were, we were our people. The we were living, we were living, we was, you know, and we're gonna get that back. We're gonna get that freedom, that justice, and equality back when the kingdom of heaven, Yahweh be established on the earth, right? So going down, we were silken robes, slippers of gold. We were the wealthiest and the wisest people, right? Because we had Yahweh Shansha. He was working with us. He was feeding our leaders, our elders, with knowledge, right? To when we had the commandments, when we had the laws, we were, we were wise because everything we did was according to the commandments and the laws of the Lord Yahweh Hashem. And we were the wealthiest, meaning we had the land. We had the abundance of land. When you are wealth, that means you have a lot of land, right? That was the true term goes back to when you have a lot of land, animals, cattle, that you can that you can pass down to your generations, right? Um, so Joshua 5 and 6, Joshua 5:6, and reads, "For the children of Israel walked 40 years in the wilderness." Um, so again, yeah, that's just going back. I think I read that one as well up here. But yeah, that's just going back to we know that land, referring to that land that flows milk and honey, which represents Israel, right? I mean, I can read it again as well. For the children of Israel walked 40 years in the wilderness till all the people that were men of war, which came out of Egypt, were consumed, because they obeyed not the voice of the Lord Yahweh, and to whom the Lord Yahweh swore that he would not shew them the land which the Lord Yahweh swore unto their fathers, that he will give us a land that flows with milk and honey. What is that talking about? That's talking about Israel. And that's talking about, this whole plot of land over here, and we, and you, and, we, we had all of this right here. We had all of that. We're gonna get all of that back in the kingdom of heaven. When the kingdom of heaven gets established, and we're gonna get all we're gonna rule the whole entire, earth. All right. Now we are the poorest of the poor, right? Now we are the poorest of the poor, right? So we were, because of what? Because we disobeyed Yahawah commandments. Now it all goes back to us disobeying the Lord's commandments. It all goes back into, us worshiping other gods, us decided to do our own thing, us decided to, because the reason, and there's a precept that speaks about, uh, or I think it is, there's, because we were, Israel, we are astonished, we are ignorant, right? Because Israel can't be sanctified. They can't. When we had that land that we had, it wasn't enough for Israel, right? It wasn't enough. So they had to do something stupid, something dumb and ignorant, because they were bored of that land. They wanted to, worship another god. They wanted to, because they with the land, they had Yahweh that did it with them. So if they wanted to go take over other part of the land, they could and win, you know. But you know, for example, if they wanted to go take over Egypt, or the land in Africa, they could, and they would win, because they was obeying and following, the Yahweh commandments. But our people, they're so, dumb, that if they did go take over that land, they would actually, worship that those heathen gods, right? Um, so Sirach chapter 11, verse 14: prosperity and, adversity, life and death, poverty and riches come of the Lord, right? So that so pro, we were a prosperity nation. We were a very rich nation. Going pursuing back to the medieval and the dark ages, we were ruling all over Europe, into the 13th century. We were ruling all over Europe. We were the wealthiest nation due to, the Lord Yahweh dealing with Israel. Even during this time, when we had the promised land, a land that flows milk and honey, we were a rich nation. But now, since, again, it's not our time. It wasn't our time to, be fully, the reason we are the poor, because it wasn't our time to, it wasn't the Israelites' time to rule the earth, right? Rule the earth, as, you know, kings, as kings and priests. It wasn't our time to rule. It was a time for the wicked to rule, right? You know, it was the time for the wicked to rule, right? Um, this is why it says that Esau is the beginning of the world and Jacob is the end of that which follows, right? So it's written that, because it's written, it no matter, it's really no matter what we can do, it's not our time to rule, it's not our time, it's the time for the wicked to rule, right? It don't matter how much prosperity we got, no matter how much land we acquired, we Yahweh Shah find a way to, take us down, right? you know. Yahweh he found a way to take us down, so yeah, because it's not our time to rule. Our time to rule is when Yahweh shall return back and destroy all the heathen, right, round about us, right, and say one third of Israel, right, and establish his kingdom, which automatically be the kingdom of Israel on earth. So I'm gonna get Ezekiel 36, verse 6. So okay, Ezekiel 36, verse verse 4. Read, therefore, ye mountains of Israel, hear the word of the Lord power. Thus said the Lord power to the mountains, and to the hills, to the rivers, and to the valleys, to the desolate wastes, and to the cities that are forsaken, which became a prey and derision to the residue of the heathens that are round about. Right? What is that referring to? To all the Edomites, to all the, to everyone that was around the land that we once possessed, right? Became a residue to the heathen, meaning that they, basically preyed upon this land. This is why it was the Lord Yahweh had to be with Israel to even get this land, right? To even possess this land, because the heathen they was finding it so hard to keep it, right? Because it was a rich land. We had all the raw minerals, all the raw materials, all the gold, silver, everything in this land, right? Um, you know, so it now is in the hands of the heathen, right? So you know I mentioned that when you're a person that has wealth, meaning that they have a lot of land. Wealth determine a person. The money doesn't determine whether you're wealthy or not. The amount of land you have, the amount of cattle and animals, and your family, your seed determine your wealth, right? So when that land became of the land, when that land that Israel was possessed, when that became under the control of the heathen, we became the poorest, you know, um, we became the poorest nation, right? Um, so the fifth verse, therefore, thus said the Lord power, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea, which have appointed my land unto their possession with the joy of all their heart, was their spiteful minds to cast it out for a prey. Right. So all this land is in possession of the heathen, and the Idumea just another name for the Edomites, right? So because that land is not meant to be ruled under the heathen, right? Because of what? Look at the land now. They are defiling. They are defiling the land of Israel right now. They are. There's a lot of heathenistic things going on there. You got the happy community. You have it. You have it's polluted with wickedness. That land is now very polluted with wickedness. Right. So um nobody wants us at their door, right? Pursuant to Ezekiel 36 and 3. Therefore prophesy and say, thus said the Lord power, because they have made you desolate and swallow you up on every side, that ye might be a possession unto the residue of the heathen. So this is why, you know, when they came, they swallow. What does that mean? Swallow you up on every side. They took up all of our land. They killed you know, all of our leaders, they destroyed everything that we had out of our possession. That you might be a possession to the resident of the heathen, meaning captivity. They brought us into captivity. They 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 did us the worst way. They brought us into slavery. We are not supposed to be in captivity. We are not a people that's supposed to be in slavery. We're not. We're supposed to be in rulership. And ye are taken up in the lips of talkers and are in infamy of the people. Right? What does that mean? What does that word infamy mean? Um, defamation, evil report, defamation, defaming, unfavorable saying. So we were talked about. We are looked at as um, bad people. Everywhere we go, we're looked at as bad people. Um, unfavorable saying. So people do not want to. People do not want to even look at us. People just talk bad about us, right? Unfavorable saying, express disapproval, right? Um, this is why the Hamites sold us into slavery because we didn't look like them. We wasn't we wasn't looking like the Hamites, right? So they sold us into slavery to the white man, right? To the Edomites, right? To the other nation, right? No, we are looked as monkeys. We're looked as at we look we are a proverb and a byword. We are a rhythm saying to the other nations, right? Right. So we are this is how we became the earth. This is why I said nobody wants us at the door, right? Because everyone just looked at, because we are not in possession. We are not in rulership. This is why they're able to look at us, and this is why when Yahweh come back, they're gonna be astonished, and they're gonna be at because they think that they really do because the true elite powers, they know who we are. This is why they're trying to keep us away from our heritage and us waking up. This is why in that book of Clarence, that movie, that's coming out probably next year. They're trying to defame that movie by saying that the true Israelites are not black and they're white, dark skin, dark brown, um, and that they look like a so-called white person, right? Because so nobody want us at their door. So my friend, is easier to tell white man's heaven is a black man's hell, right? I have it here. I want to see how they broke this down. Ingenious. So we were silken rose, slippery to gold. We were the wealthiest and the wisest of people. So Africa is known for their gold. When we were in Africa, everyone were gold. There was a time where gold was literally worthless, and everyone wanted of it. We had the most resources because that was the full of expense. This is no we and I do have a thing up here as well I can show. So we were living, you know, the- a Negro land, a no, just a the how the that so a Negro land, right? Negro, it was referred to as Negro land because Israelites was over here, right? Kingdom of Benin is just referring to kingdom of Judah because our name was, but we were because the kingdom, because the Hamites, were dealing with the Israelites, be different from the like, our cultural, our language was different. You know, you know, we had to, because before we fled Africa, we had our own land, possession of our own land. You know, we were in possession of our own land. We had our own material, our own. We had abundance of land, right? Someone go here. I'm told now we are the poorest poor. Nobody wants us at their door, and in America we are a part of the lowest class of people. We live in the worst areas, and nobody wants us to. Whites, we are considered wild, ignorant, and reckless, and probably better than that's true. Now this is true. Without any proof, so this is true because it goes back to the Ezekiel. We are a family of the people, right? We are looked as nobody. We are looked at as nobodies. We are looked at as the lowest of the lowest, people on earth, right? It doesn't matter if you're rich. If you're a rich so-called black person, if you're rich, you're still looked at as low. We're until we to our power, until we get into heaven be established on earth, until we are looked at as into the heathen, you know, worship to the heathen, learn the commandments, and to the heathen worship, um, basically bow down to us. Until the heathen do that, we'll be looked at among we'll be looked at and as nobody. Sorry. Um, and that doesn't matter. That doesn't you can't even if you move to other countries. If you move to China, China have a history of enslaving black, those so-called black people. It doesn't matter where you move. Germany, as the lowest of the lowest. So my friend, easier to tell white man's heaven is a black man's hell. The perfect world to a white person is hell to a black man because white people envision a world without blacks, and everything that think is right for us isn't necessarily true, right? So, this is going back to, they honestly, they are looked at, they're the real minority. We are the majority. They are the real minority because they're having issues, with even, you know, they're having issues. They're gonna be the real minority soon. They're gonna be the real minority soon. We're gonna be the majority, right? So I'm gonna close it out here, and I'm gonna continue this, you know, um, series with verse 2 in the next lesson, Lord willing. All right. So I'm gonna give all honor, glory, and praises to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. Until the next time, we'll say Shalom.